Hello everybody and welcome to the face reading of the people in the news. For those of you who are with me today for the first time, if you get interested in the subject of face reading, you can watch my YouTube's face reading introduction and face reading 101 part 1 part 2. You can also buy my book Face Reading Secrets for Successful Relationships. It is available on Amazon.com. Today I will be speaking about Queen Elizabeth II. Not that she has been on the news lately, but she has been on my mind. How about that? I have to admit I did watch the wedding of Prince Harry and his bride, just because I read their faces a couple of months before the wedding and wanted to see how they interacted in real life. And then I saw the Queen. One of the commentators mentioned that she was married to Prince Philip for 70 years and had been a queen for 65 years, raised 4 children. Now, I know very little about the Queen and the whole royal story. Whether the people of UK love her or hate her, I do not even know or understand why some countries keep their royalty on the thrones. So I looked at her as a lady who was destined to be in the public eye through genetic lottery, and who managed to survive for a very long time. As I looked at the photos of the Queen, I felt that she was a very interesting person to do a reading on. Such a genuine, full of life and real lady. I loved all the wrinkles on her face, all the facial expressions. I read faces of many famous actors, athletes, heads of states, and unfortunately a great majority of them seemed, at least in the public eye, to be so fake, so made, so plastic. But with Elizabeth, if she was concerned with something, it's right on her face. No fake smiles. She's not playing games. If she's smiling, it's hard to not to smile with her. That's what got my interest. So let's look at the Queen Elizabeth II as face readers. We'll start with her morphology from childhood and on. At this tender age, what was she, 2, 3, or 4 years old, Elizabeth was predictably a moon. Most kids till the age of 2 or 3 have faces of a moon, because before the age of 3, children live the emotional life of their mothers. And the moon personality is one who absorbs, takes in, not sure how to be or respond, molding and morphing. But by the age of 8 or 9, here she's totally a formed Venus, of course. And what do we know about a Venus personality? Venus is a Roman adaptation of the Greek goddess of love, Aphrodite. Indeed, of all 12 personalities, the Venus are mostly concerned with loving and being loved. They're often involved in social causes and bringing worrying parties to the negotiating table. The Venus are very lively, spunky, and resourceful. They love attention. They have a lot of practical intelligence and know how to organize things to make everyone comfortable. But look what happens with a young princess once she joins the army at the end of the World War II. What do you think about her face? The princess is ready to fight for her country, and she becomes a Mars. Not a pure Mars, still having those soft cheeks of a Venus, but nevertheless, she did morph into a Mars. Even after the war, I guess she needed to be firm to assert herself. I don't know exactly how old she was in this picture, but she was clearly a Mars here. But if you say, what about those soft cheeks on the lower part of her face? And you are right. This part of her face is totally a Venus, with the perfect Venus lips, in fact. But the upper part of her face is Mars. Mars, it's a little bit complicated because this part is short enough that it could even qualify to be an Earth. So in her early 20s, Elizabeth was a Venus/Mars/Earth. So On the one hand, as a Venus, she was loving, understanding, reconciliatory, peace-loving, homemaker. On the other hand, she was ready and willing to put up a fight if necessary. That's the Mars part. But remember, she was Mars who was closer to the square of the Earth. And the people with the Earth personality, though ready to fight if necessary, are basically non-violent and peace-loving people, which goes well with her Venus part. Her eyes are also interesting, with that half Venus personality and Venus lips, which give a smooth and soft talk. You would expect her to be an extrovert, but the eyes, as you see, are set a bit deeper than average inside, which tells us that Elisabeth is really an introvert. She is naturally friendly, speaks in a soft, gentle way, but in truth, she is very private, very choosy who she has as a friend, and super choosy, if ever, who she confides to about what is deep inside. A couple of interesting features to look at. See the small distance between the tragus and anti-tragus? That tells us that Elisabeth is not that talkative. She does not have the need to talk, and if she does, it's only when it's called for. The triangulation on the wing of the nostril shows us that she's competitive, and the fact that the nostril is elongated reveals high intelligence. If you apply the same measurements that I did to the Queen's appearance at her advanced age, she really did not change her personality over the years. Perhaps only her eyes. They just sunk a little deeper, so she became a little more introvert. But that is all her face, her persona, what she has developed in this lifetime. Let us now look at her temperament, the qualities Elisabeth was born with, the energy that fuels her way of being beyond and regardless of her conscious awareness. Here is young Elisabeth, and she's clearly, you can see, has a nervous cast. But with the chin, it's not clear because of her head is slightly lifted. Let's look at this picture. Here you can see the bilious chin and the tilted forehead, but also the corner of the jaw is bilious as well. And look at the forehead. Even though it is tilted, see the pink arrow? At the top, her forehead becomes bilious, roundish. Remember, every detail matters. So, what we have here, Elisabeth was born with a bilious physicality, the jaw, that is enduring, long-distance runner in every way, and a roundness of the forehead at the top, willful, determined, organized, liking to have obstacles to overcome, long-term planner, who is interested in details and able to stick to a plan no matter what. But the nervous cast adds to the temperament great sensitivity, quickness of the mind, creativity, and the ability to be diplomatic. In the situations where pure bilious would stubbornly stick to her idea, Elisabeth is able to be flexible, consider ideas of others, and yield when warranted. Just like her personality, the Queen's temperament did not change with time. Here, some years later, she is still the same, bilious with a nervous cast. And these days, she is the same, just added a bit of lymphatic flash under her chin, which goes with becoming more patient and tolerant, and also being able to see the forest, rather than just like a bilious, only the tree. That is becoming more of a visionary, like many older people become. So to summarize, what we have here is a lady who temperamentally is willful and persistent, stubborn and organized, a natural leader, and a tireless pursuer of order, and at the same time a creative, quick-minded and flexible diplomat, a temperament who is sensitive enough to understand and help those in pain, and firm enough to demand order and accountability from those she granted her trust. All those innate qualities are greatly influenced by the personality of a Venus seeking peace and connectedness, and Mars, who is ready and willing to fight if the olive branch of the Venus is rejected. My conclusion to this face reading session is that if this lady were not born into a royal family, we would still hear of her as a skillful politician or as an accomplished entrepreneur, as an innovative teacher or a successful novelist, writing about peace, war, suffering, beauty, forgiveness, and most of all, love and compassion. I'm not a British citizen, but after getting to know her through this reading, I want to say God save the Queen. And that is all for the Queen Elizabeth II. Please click subscribe if you want to be informed when I make new postings. Thank you for being with me today. Peace to all who want to live in peace.